Alrighty, let's get this party started. Appreciate everybody for being here. Please give it a thumbs up on your way in. God bless you all for tuning in today. I'm sorry to hit you with this thumbnail. I know it really frustrates people. They're like, why, Mike? Of all people, why is she the one that you chose? I needed some easy, something easy for the thumbnail. And I mean, there's more that I could have included in this thumbnail, but it just, it would have been too cluttered. But nonetheless, please, everybody, give it a thumbs up. God bless you all for tuning in today. We're almost through the week here. Now, guys, I have to issue a little retraction before we get started, okay? I have to issue a retraction. I've said over and over and over that Joe Biden is not popular and that he did not get 81 million votes. And it's really obvious that he didn't, but I need to issue a retraction. I think I was wrong. I think that he is popular. I don't know where I got this wrong, but I think he is really popular and he did get 81 million votes. And before you try to downvote this, because I see YouTube hasn't removed the downvotes yet. I already got one downvote. But before you downvote, allow me to prove to you that he got 81 million votes. Here is the proof, the unequivocal, undeniable proof that Joe Biden is the most popular president in U.S. history, and he got 81 million votes. Here's the proof. Can't you hear it? I mean, the enthusiasm. That is the sound of somebody building back better. That's the sound of a man that's building back better. I don't know about you, but this is popular.
Thank you.
That is popularity right there. I just wanted to just let you guys know. That's your proof right there. All right, now in all seriousness, let's get this party started. I want to start with some good news out of the Sunshine State of Florida, which will come as no surprise to anybody, but it is a milestone moment. Nonetheless, Republicans officially overtake Democrats in Florida. And this is huge because voter registration data that has been collected shows that there are more registered Republicans than there are Democrats. This is something that Democrats have led for a long time in the state of Florida, where there have been more registered Democrats than Republicans. Well, now that has essentially flipped. And what that really means is, people are moving to Florida in droves, and rightfully so, because this is a state that values freedom and First Amendment, Second Amendment, all that good stuff. The people that are moving here are at least registering Republican. Now, I know that they still have to turn out and vote, but the fact that people are moving here and adhering to the values in this state means that, they're not trying to turn the state blue. And the fact that Democrats, the big Democrat donors, are not going to dump a lot of money into this state for the 2022 midterms is just huge. So Florida is, I guess at this point you could say, is no longer a purple swing state. In my opinion, it hasn't been that way for a while. I mean, Democrats haven't controlled the state legislature since the 90s. There hasn't been a Democrat governor since before that. Obviously, it voted for Trump both times by bigger numbers each time. The second time. And Governor Ron DeSantis is clearly on his way to a landslide reelection. So this is a huge, huge win for not just Florida, but for the country. I mean, 29 electoral votes are almost certain to go to the Republican that runs in 2024. So you can all but, wrap that up for 2024. Florida is going to be a red state. And I don't think Democrats are going to try to spend a lot of money here flipping the state. Do keep your eyes on Texas, though. So that's good news, right? That's really good news, but it shouldn't really come as a surprise to anybody that's been paying attention. Now, on to the queen of corruption, Hillary Rodham Clinton. Reptilian Clinton. I mean, of all the politicians that have come and gone through the swamp of Washington, D.C., this has to be one of the most despicable, corrupt human beings that I've ever seen. I mean, we talk about how unlikable Kamala Harris is and, Joe Biden even, but do any of them even come close to Hillary Clinton? I mean, this is the smug, elite, deeply corrupt, shady Hillary Clinton, who once upon a time when she was running for president punched down on half the country, calling you all, a basket of deplorables, a bunch of racist, sexist, homophobe. The way that she just kind of casts you off as nobodies. I mean, she is the embodiment of all of the rot in DC. And, there's an entire list of things that we could talk about. Benghazi, Uranium One, her private email server, the Steele dossier right now, the Clinton Foundation in Haiti, the Clinton body count, which she brags about. She jokes about the fact that people think that, her and Bill Clinton are secretly offing people. Well, that's next to impossible to prove. At least I can't prove it. I don't have proof. So I have to say that I don't have proof. It's very interesting, if not super suspicious, that so many people tied to the Clintons are very depressed and just happen to be suicidal. Just a side note. Very, very interesting there. But what about her questionable ties to Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, Ed Buck, the Democrat donor, Ed Buck, that was injecting black men with meth and they just overdosed in his apartment? How does she happen to know some of the world's worst people? Anthony Weiner, the laptop, John Podesta, the leaked emails. I mean, we could go on and on and on. But the timing of her tweet here, which I'll read to you guys, she basically retweeted somebody who said, who is not going to jail and who has never been indicted for anything? Hope you have a great weekend, Hillary Clinton. So she replied to the tweet, thanks, it was quite restful. So this is obviously a jab at Steve Bannon, who was just indicted, held in contempt for this witch hunt, this January 6th witch hunt. So she's taking a shot at somebody who was indicted. And if you think about the timing of this, she knows exactly what it is. It's not that she just lacks self-awareness. She's making a mockery. She's bragging about the fact that she got away with all of her crimes. The fact that she should clearly be indicted for the Russia collusion that she paid for. We all knew this was true at the time, but now we have the proof. Now it's official. Hillary Clinton paid for the Steele dossier that they used to spy on Trump and his campaign, harass him throughout his entire term. We all know that she rigged the primaries against Bernie Sanders. And again, all of her corruption, the toppling Gaddafi in Libya. We came, we saw, he died. What difference does it make? Her statement on Benghazi, the corruption while she was in the State Department, she did not get indicted at all. James Comey just let her go. And she's bragging about it with her tweet. And why is she doing it? Because she knows that, the corruption in DC, she's part of that swamp. She is the swamp creature, the Loch Ness monster that sits in the middle of the lake. And her tentacles are so deeply entrenched in Washington, D.C., that she can brag as civilians, innocent citizens who haven't done anything wrong, are being spied on by the FBI. They're being indicted. They're being put in solitary confinement for much less crimes than she committed, if crimes at all. And she's making a mockery. She's laughing in your face. She's saying, yeah, I'm crooked Hillary. I'm crooked H. She's proud of it. She's proud of her corruption. But you know what? She'll face her judgment on the other side. She may not ever do a day in jail. She probably not. She'll never be indicted. Let's just be real. She'll go to the grave a free woman. But what she's going to have to deal with on the other side, I'll just leave it at that. But you know what? She'll never be the president of the United States. She'll never have her hands on the lever of power like she did before. And she lost to Donald J. Trump. So she has to live with that fact. She still thinks that the election was rigged. She still talks about that. But a woman that could just sit there, and I can't look at that anymore. It's just driving me nuts. It's too distracting. A woman that can just mock American citizens while, you got Kyle Rittenhouse on trial. You've had other people go into solitary confinement, get arrested, get harassed, get spied on. And she lied under oath and no indictments. And the way she tweeted it is like, yeah, I haven't been indicted. Yeah. As if she's somehow squeaky clean, like she's innocent. Ask any Haitian American what they think of the Clintons, the Clinton Foundation fiasco where they robbed Haiti blind. Ask Haitians what they think of not just her, but her husband. So this is by no means like the biggest story of the day. This is just something I wanted to cover because you see these serpents are slithering out of the grass right now because they feel like they have the upper hand, but they don't. They really don't. It's posturing. It's like a weak animal when it's cornered. It wants to look tough. This is what's happening right now. They've lost their grip on power. People are waking up. This corruption is coming to light. They're being exposed. It remains to be seen if there will be consequences that they face, but they continue to lash out, whether it's Hillary Clinton, whether it's the media, they continue to lash out and throw their weight around as more and more people are awakening worldwide. So she's one of those corrupt cabal establishment figures. And that's all I can say about her. I can't. I could spin an entire episode, if that's what you want to call this, stream on just the Clinton Foundation and the corruption. But you guys know it's been well documented. Somebody that can laugh and joke about the fact that millions of people think that you and your husband are, killing people, essentially. Not maybe yourself, but people again, all these people just suicidal, they just happen to know Hillary. All these pedophiles and human traffickers just happen to know her, etc. Moving on. This is an interesting thing here. Now, we don't have a verdict yet in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. And what concerns me is the longer that it takes for a verdict to be rendered, the more I'm suspicious of it. Think about the Derek Chauvin trial, right? I could have understood if it took them longer to deliberate and decide the verdict because there was so many moving parts with that case. There was a lot of facts and information. It was one of those cases where it honestly could have gone either way. I'm one of those people that thought well, he probably will get charged with manslaughter. That seems like maybe fair. All right. I was one of those people that was he maybe shouldn't walk free, but at the same time, all these charges don't really match. And so it seemed to me that Chauvin trial, the jury could have deliberated for a long time. But this right here, this Kyle Rittenhouse case, this to me is cut and dry. Why would it take them so long? What are we on day 3 now? And we still don't have a verdict. It makes me think the longer this goes on, the more likely it is that he might get convicted. I honestly don't know. But I'm just really suspicious of this entire situation. But nonetheless, you got people gathering outside of the courthouse. It's been pretty much all week, I think since last week. People have been there, and there's more people there as we await the verdict, which hopefully will come today. Not really sure. But this video right here is kind of positive. What you have in this video here is BLM. Yes, BLM is at the Kyle Rittenhouse trial outside of the courthouse, and Rittenhouse supporters sharing pizza. I don't know who ordered the pizza, but this is yesterday, people are coming together. So, but the reason why I'm saying that this is positive, and I'm going to show you another video after this, and then it'll make sense.
And else he's done for all of us. He's not only coming here to make a difference, he brought pizza to feed everyone. Please pay attention to this guy. This is his food.
Hey, come here, my man. My man, what's his name? Hey, come here.
Brother Change. He just brought this. Not only did he come here to bring peace, he brought food for people.
Y'all give it up for him, all
That's right. Make some noise.
All right, we need some napkins.
That's right.
I'm looking for the cheese.
You guys, if you get napkins, come on, get food.
Come on.
Get energized and remain peaceful.
I'm trying to find the cheese. Come on.
Watch the pizza, baby. Watch it. I got you. Stretch your leg. I got you.
Come on.
You want?
Where she go with the one to do the interview?
Thank you, Lord.
Okay, notice this woman right here with the red, white, and blue hat, right? She's taking a slice of pizza. Everything's good. You got journalists taking pictures. It looks pretty civil. Believe it or not, it's pretty civil. And now we're going to go to the next video. After, let me play a little more of this.
Thank you, baby.
Don't worry about my coach.
So people are smiling. They're cheerful. This seems like a good come together moment.
Man, I mean that. I mean that, man. Thank you for your spirit. Respect what you do. All right. Don't take down for that.
So all seems good, right? But what happened in the next video was a little concerning because this was not that further along after the fact. This, I don't know how much longer after that pizza thing that this happened. And I'm just warning you right now, I don't censor videos. So viewer discretion advised. Mostly just, it's not like graphic in any way, but there's some profanity here. So just so you know, I don't like to censor videos because that's not how life is. You're not going to get beeping sounds when people are cussing in reality. So anyway, here's what happened just moments after the pizza with this woman.
Yeah.
Look at this cum dumpster right here.
You cum dumpster? Your mom was. She
Hey, I can't be a cum dumpster.
You are. How?
How? I don't have a vagina, you dumb cunt.
You can swallow it, you dumb bitch.
Get the fuck out.
What you gonna do?
Don't do that. What's up?
Stop!
Get off.
Stop! Back up!
I didn't do nothing. She's the one that's doing it.
Back up! Oh shit!
Anthony, you're gonna get arrested.
Okay, so what happened there? How did it go from BLM and this woman and other Rittenhouse supporters there, peaceful, getting along, having pizza together, just standing there, even if they disagree, they're being peaceful, to now this dude coming out of nowhere and he has an exchange with her, and then some other white lady comes up and tries to take her sign, and then all hell breaks loose. I'm just wondering what happens, and I'm going to be putting on my tinfoil hat here momentarily, but I want to finish up the video so you guys can see in its entirety what happened after.
You trying to get up on me like that?
Hey, you okay, man?
I do not want to tell in my pharmacy. Get this shit away before I freak the fuck out.
No. Go, man. Stop that. You ain't.
Stay back.
You hit me.
Someone grab her.
I didn't do nothing.
Don't get arrested.
I didn't do nothing. You hit me.
Stay back.
No, you hit me.
Before I freak the fuck out.
Okay, you see this guy right here, the black dude with the whatever, the black power fist, whatever that fist is, on his beanie. He's one of the guys that was there eating pizza earlier. He's trying to stop this guy, saying, "Hey, chill, relax. Who is this dude and where did he come from?" And then you see this other woman.
Go, man. Stop that. You ain't.
Stay back.
This chick.
Someone grab her. Hey.
do nothing.
Don't get arrested.
I didn't do
Back.
nothing. You hit me.
Stay back. Don't get
No,
arrested.
you hit
Get the
me.
line here.
Now y'all fucking hit me.
Back up.
Get Mauser out.
Back up. Stay back now.
Why y'all throwing us here? See, y'all just bust my head. Yeah, get all this.
I think that was the chick that came in there trying to get the pizza, and they were like telling her to back up. So why I'm showing you guys the contrast between those two videos is because what you had at the beginning looked like something that would not fly in the media. That's something they don't want to see. They don't want to see unity. They don't want to see people coming together. They don't want to see people, especially if they're black and white, who are clearly on opposite sides of this Rittenhouse trial. They don't want to see people having discourse or sharing pizza. And so then all of a sudden you have these agitators who come out of nowhere, essentially, it seems like, and they stir up some chaos. They both got arrested. And it's something that we know to be true, that there are paid agitators. Think January 6th. Think how you have people embedded within a movement, dressing, looking the part, and then next thing you know, they kick off some chaos, some riots. That's what you can probably expect to happen after this Rittenhouse trial concludes. You can bet your bottom dollar that's what will happen. There's going to be agitators. There's going to be peaceful people, no doubt, just like in Charlottesville, just like January 6th. There will be good people on both sides of any of these issues going on in the country. But then you have people who come in and stir up chaos. Paid agitators. I don't know if these two people are paid or not, but I just find it kind of interesting that all of a sudden there's no more peace and they attack this woman. Now, she could have been a part of it too. I don't know, because she said some crazy stuff too, but she, it kind of is what it is. It just seems to be like there are people who are looking to do harm and make a movement look bad for the purpose of chaos and to create the confusion and, kick off civil unrest. That's what they want. They thrive on this chaos. They thrive on this civil unrest. The media loves it. That's why when that chick was on the ground getting arrested, you got all these journalists taking pictures. They want to do whatever they can to continue this narrative that this is white supremacist. This is dangerous. Look at all these people out here supporting Kyle Rittenhouse, including the police department. That's what I think is happening here. And you can see, I can just see it, guys. I can see this happening after this Rittenhouse trial wraps up. There's going to be some level of chaos, if not outright riots, in Kenosha. It's not like we haven't seen it before. It's not like we won't see it again. They're literally calling for Kenosha to be burned down. Right? They're openly calling for riots. They're telling people to, get out there. So this is probably just going to intensify. I wish it wasn't going to be the case, but it appears like that is going to be the case. So we'll see what happens. But this is another thing, too, that I find really interesting. Now, I cannot confirm that this was taken even in Kenosha, so I'm going to give that disclaimer. But here's a photo where a man throws up a Sieg Heil salute towards BLM protesters as he drives by the Kenosha courthouse. This is from Monday. Now, look at this image right here. Does this not scream operative to you? Come on, man. You got the company vehicle, Fast Max Inc. I sent this to my buddy this morning because he's really good at getting to the bottom of stuff and researching and seeing if it's legit or not. People have called this number. People are sharing this on Twitter. Look, see, the white nationalists and the white supremacists are showing up and showing their support for Kyle Rittenhouse. They're doing the Heil sign out of the window of a freaking company vehicle. Come on, man. They got to try harder than this. This is too obvious. Way too obvious. Not to mention, not everybody standing outside of the courthouse is Black Lives Matter. A lot of people are Rittenhouse supporters. So that wouldn't make any sense at all. But this reeks of suspicion right here. And I mean, if you think back to earlier this month, what did we see happen in Charlottesville, Virginia? Right? A black, white nationalist, supposedly, it just blows my mind. The length they will travel to not only smear Republicans, conservatives, paint them as racist, but the length they'll travel to drag black people in it. For all the black conservatives that get called Uncle Tom and Coon and sellout, how do you classify this guy who dresses up as a white nationalist, if that's even how they dress, I don't know, dresses up to go stand in the rain and look pathetic, all to make Glenn Youngkin look racist. LARPers, paid operatives, staging false flags to try to make someone look bad or kickstart civil unrest. I mean, we just saw this. Why do they keep doing this? And I can't believe that I have to say the obvious thing out loud. No black people, I repeat, 0 black people are involved with the Kyle Rittenhouse trial or the case itself. Kyle Rittenhouse is white. The 3 people he shot were white. The judge is white. The jury is white. The town is mostly white. They're mad that the jurors are white, except for, I think, 1. So they're finding unique ways to try to tie racism and white supremacy to the Rittenhouse trial. And so you have Black Lives Matter people there. Why? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't mean they can't be there. I don't want people to take this as, if you're black, you can't have a vested interest in the outcome of this case, because obviously I have a vested interest. I want to see how this case turns out. And it doesn't mean that if you're white, you have to care about it. I'm saying that skin color has nothing to do with this trial, with this case whatsoever. I mean, I guess if you want to say there was a black person involved, Mike, well, yeah, that was the dude that tried to kick Kyle Rittenhouse while he's on the ground, but he didn't get shot. So if Kyle Rittenhouse was this raging Trump supporting white supremacist, why didn't he shoot the only black guy that tried to assault him? You have to explain that one to me. My gosh, these people are so desperate. And it's just, what's sad is they're actually able to tug at the heartstrings of some black people. So for as much as I criticize and say, come on, man, who's falling for this anymore? Some people are. There are some black people that are actually thinking that Kyle Rittenhouse is a racist who wants to kill black people, who wants to shoot minorities. This is how crazy the propaganda is, where they can actually convince some black people to fall for this. I shared the story yesterday where the Democrat politician in the state of Oregon suggested that black people should be given time off of work after the Rittenhouse trial concludes, which clearly is so stupid and psychotic, completely racist, bigoted, to suggest that, black people do not have the emotional bandwidth. They're not emotionally sophisticated enough to deal with the harsh reality of the world, right? The mental anguish is just way too overbearing for people with a certain skin color, that they need time off work for a trial that involves no black people. I mean, it boggles the mind that they feel so confident to say this kind of stuff, put it out in public, and expect to be taken seriously. But to some degree, it works. And I think that's why they continue to do it. They have to try to keep the people who do fall for the propaganda, the lowest common denominator, everything is racist, everything's white supremacist. The people that fall for that, low IQ people of all races that fall for that, you have to be low IQ to look at a photo of a black dude dressed up as a white supremacist, a white nationalist, and you don't even notice it. All you see is Glenn Youngkin is racist. Look at the people showing up to his events. And they keep saying it because it works. They're hemorrhaging support. We know this. It's sad and embarrassing to admit that, yeah, there's still like black people vote at Democrat like 80% still to this day. But it doesn't matter when you consider all you need is a small percentage to vote the other way, and that party is finished. They know that. And they're hemorrhaging support. So I say all this to say, be on the lookout for false flags. Anytime you go to an event, anytime there's a gathering, a rally, a protest, just keep your head on a swivel because bad actors are all around. They're looking to subvert movements. They're planting people there to start chaos. We saw it last year, all throughout last year. People crossing state lines, showing up to rallies, political events, starting fights, doing Heil Hitler signs out of a truck window, a company vehicle. Come on, you guys, come on. And while I was doing my research into the history of Democrats and, political operatives looking to frame their opposition via false flags and, people dressed up, because they used to do that back in the day. Send people dressed up like the Ku Klux Klan to Republican events to try to sway voters and fearmonger. When I was doing my research, this video came up from 2016. Who remembers this video before Trump was even elected? It's crazy CNN still has this on their channel.
You have Kate in San Francisco who was killed. Kate.
Y'all remember this? Guy with a KKK shirt on. KKK supports Trump. To make Trump look racist. This was before he was elected. This is what they do. He handled it like a boss.
But see, in the good old days, law enforcement acted a lot quicker than this. A lot quicker. In the good old days, they'd rip him out of that seat so fast. But today, everybody's politically correct. Our country's going to hell with being politically correct.
See, that's the length that they're willing to go to frame somebody who's doing damage to their control structure, their narrative, their agenda. And that's exactly what he was doing. That's what Glenn Youngkin was doing in Virginia. That's what this Rittenhouse trial is doing to their narrative. It completely destroys so many of their narratives. And so they have to go to such great lengths to stage false flags and fan the flames. And it's so evil. It's so evil. So Kenosha, watch out. You've got this Marvel writer who urges people to burn down the city of Kenosha over Rittenhouse trial. Where's Twitter on this? Somebody inciting riots? Dylan Park says, with a verdict near, Governor Tony Evers said that 500 National Guard members would be prepared for duty in Kenosha if local law enforcement requested them. So he said, burn that MFer to the ground. And I believe that tweet is still up, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if it's been removed. No, the tweet is still there. Huh. Yeah. Oh, no, wait. Maybe it is. They took it down. Must have. Good. But yeah, man, that's where we are. Just got to be on the lookout. And I even made the mistake of tweeting this out yesterday, and I figured it out and deleted it quickly. A Kenosha officer found this pile of bricks in an alley and says scanners are nonstop reporting many other sightings around the city. This is what the left does. So you guys remember last summer with the riots, there were pallets of bricks mysteriously placed near department stores and just right in the place where people could throw them through windows and smash up businesses. This photo clearly is not from recently. I mean, you got green leaves on bushes and trees. It looks lush. It looks like summertime. And that's my mistake. I didn't catch it. I tweeted it out, and then I realized pretty quickly that this is from last year. And it's kind of sad and frustrating that somebody who is, this looks like a conservative, proud army brat, would tweet this out as if it's recent. We don't need to do this. I just feel like this is bad. What purpose does it serve to essentially spread fake news? I'm not saying that there are no bricks there now, but I'm saying to share a picture of something that's clearly from last summer. And I believe this wasn't even in Kenosha. I think this photo is from Dallas. It's not helpful. It doesn't do anything. It serves no purpose. But just be on the lookout, man, because they're trying. You don't need to spread this kind of stuff, this false information, when they're giving us all the information. They're doing all of it for you. You don't need to stage it. But yeah. Anyway, speaking of things that are completely unnecessary, I have to say something about this Paul Gosar situation, since he has been stripped of his 2 committee assignments. No, I heard about this when it first happened last week. I just didn't pay any attention to it because I didn't feel like it was very important at all. But now, since it's garnered so much attention now, and more people are talking about it, and he has officially been stripped of his committee assignment, I just have to say, man, what am I? I'm going to give you my straight, just here's what I think about it. Honestly, I'm not going to sit here and defend what he did because he is a Republican or something like that. But at the same time, I'm not going to make it seem bigger than it is. I think I saw the little anime of like an anime cartoon with his face photoshopped on there, and it looks like he's like chopping off heads or something like that. It looks like he's killing AOC and Biden. It looks like that. And I just wonder, like, why? It obviously wasn't funny or entertaining to me. It just seemed really silly and weird. Like, what was the angle? What was the purpose? You have to think ahead. You have to have the foresight to know that the Democrats are going to take this and blow it out of proportion, which is exactly what they did. They're still talking about it. It just seems really dumb. It just seems not strategic at all. Why would you give them a stick to beat you with? And you just think about it. It's like now they're going to use this as cannon fodder for, midterms and political ads. And it makes no sense. But at the same time, it's really dumb. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time, which is what we know they love to do. They love to waste time with witch hunts and hearings that serve no purpose, get nothing done when we got all this inflation, open borders, we got lockdowns. We have so much going on in the country, and they're worried about stripping him of his committee assignments. I mean, if they're really concerned about stripping somebody of their committee assignments, you could start with Eric Swalwell. That's a prime example. And then, of course, if we just have to play the whataboutism game, what about these politicians that have called for civil unrest that actually led to people dying? Here you got Ayanna Pressley. There needs to be unrest in the streets. Kamala Harris. Protests should not let up. Of course, the famous Mad Maxine Waters. If you see anybody from that cabinet, get out and create a crowd and push back on them. And then she said last summer, if Derek Chauvin isn't convicted, we need to get in the streets and get more confrontational. How do you get more confrontational than the 2020 riots, Maxine? How do you do that? Because people died. Businesses were looted and burned to the ground. Lives were destroyed. People are still trying to put back the pieces of their lives from last year. Then Nancy Pelosi. I just don't know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be. I mean, I could go on and on and on about them calling for unrest. This is what they do when they don't get their way. They activate the mob and start this chaos so they can feast on it. That's what wicked, evil people do. So to go after Paul Gosar, I mean, what he did was, it was silly, it was dumb, but to strip him of his committee assignments, I mean, whatever. I mean, it just seems really, the whole thing is really dumb. And then him tweeting this out, I mean, look at this. This is cringe. Who's supporting this? I'm sorry. Maybe some people disagree. I just think, what purpose does this serve, Paul Gosar? What are you trying to accomplish here? Because now this just looks embarrassing. I mean, this just looks like some, I don't know, man. It looks like some Gen Z 20-something tweeted this out. He's tweeting this stuff out. I just feel like this is really, it's a bad look. It's a bad look all around. And it's got people looking at him in a bad, negative light. Again, don't give the Democrats a stick to beat you with. I'll move on. Aye. What can you guys do? It's just clown world, man. Let's get back to Joy Reid. Joy Reid compares Kyle Rittenhouse to Brett Kavanaugh. You know, the open hostility towards white people in the country right now. I'm obviously not a white person, but I'm standing up for what's right. And you should not be racist and hostile towards people based on their skin color. So Joy Reid has her own TikTok, and she is, you know, using her platform for evil. No surprises there, but to just be hostile towards people who have the wrong skin color.
So it's Kyle Rittenhouse trial. It reminded a lot of people of something, I just can't remember what it was. Oh, the Brett Kavanaugh hearings, in which Brett Kavanaugh, who had been accused by a high school friend of committing sexual abuse of her, cried his way through the hearings to make him a permanent member and Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court. And his tears turned out to be more powerful than the tears of Christine Blasey Ford, which were the tears of an alleged victim. But in America, there's a thing about both white vigilantism and white tears, particularly male white tears. Really white tears in general, because that's what Karens are, right? They Karen out, and then as soon as they get caught, it's like, green waterworks. White men can get away with that too. And it has the same effect. Even as the right tries to politicize the idea that masculinity is being robbed from American men by multiculturalism and wokeism, they still want to be able to have their tears. So my friend Jahan Jones, who writes the brilliant The Readout blog, wrote a great piece about this. And if you want to read it, you can.
She is so despicable. Despicable is the only way to describe her. And she continues to do this daily on a cable news network. And then, of course, driving people to her social media where her bigotry goes offline and she can really just go all in. How is it? This is not the country I grew up in. As they point the finger and call everyone else racist, hateful, this is what they say. And they're comfortable doing it. And it goes completely unchecked. For as much as they're going to attack Paul Gosar, look at Republicans stood by as Paul Gosar put out this meme, this anime cartoon where he's chopping off heads. They're ignoring bigotry within their own ranks because they are so committed to their political tribalism. Political tribalism is what keeps people from holding this woman accountable. How do you feel good about yourself not holding somebody accountable? One of your colleagues, as she's saying despicable and hate-filled things on a daily basis from Joy Reid. It's not just Joy Reid, it's the people that go on MSNBC. I'm telling you, that network has devolved from where it was, and it was terrible before. It's hard to believe that network gets worse and worse every day. But on a lighter note, here she is trying to put a spin, trying to put some sheen on the surging gas prices and the inflation that we're seeing and the shortages of items on shelves and the economy just sucking. Here's her putting a spin on it for her followers, because her followers, the people that watch her, the people that watch this network, agree with what she's saying, but they're also having some level of cognitive dissonance, right? Like, how can you not when you see that gas prices are through the roof? Then you tune into this network and you're like, well, things are really crazy. Let me see what Joy-Ann Reid has to say about the craziness that I'm seeing with my own two eyes. And here's how she gaslights the people who watch her.
So Republicans want you to believe the economy isn't doing well. That's terrible. But in reality, unemployment is at its lowest point since before the pandemic began. Prices are higher, which is never good. But Americans are also spending a record amount of money that was pent up during the pandemic, which Economics 101 will tell you drives prices up, aka inflation. And that conflict between how much we want to spend and what we can get into our hands quickly is contributing to how pessimistic many Americans feel about the economy. Consumer confidence is at its lowest level in a decade, according to a University of Michigan survey.
Did you hear that? That level of lunacy? Just pure gaslighting. Like, hey, Joy, can you slap some sheen on this? Just put some lipstick on this pig so I feel better about the economy sucking. Just tell me it's not as bad as it really is. Here she is doing more.
And that lack of confidence has translated into a drop in Biden's approval rating, in part because Republicans are seizing on inflation and blaming Joe Biden for it personally, which is a fun twist after Republicans and Trump maxed out the national credit card on tax cuts for the super rich and a partial wall that Mexico was supposed to pay for.
See? Just gaslighting. Now she brings in Pocahontas.
The White House has put out this sort of good news on today. And they said, here's what they said. Major retailers are saying that the shelves are well stocked. According to government statistics, there was a big jobs boom in the summer, not a bust. The ratings agency says Build Back Better will not add to inflation. And 10% of 5 to 11-year-olds are vaxxed in 10 days, which is way ahead of schedule. And in fact, the Washington Post does report that with revisions, the economy added 194,000 jobs in September. Headlines at the time called it ugly, dismal, and disappointing. It turns out it was 312,000 jobs when they revised it. So the economy isn't bad. It's just that people are mad because everything is late and things cost a little bit more. What do you make of all of this?
Yeah, way to minimize it.
I look at it this way.
Way to minimize it, Joy. The economy isn't bad. People are just upset they have to pay more. See how she's so just dismissal of the middle class, just dismissal of people. Like, you got the money to pay for it. It's not that bad. Lower your expectations. Get used to bread lines. Get used to this new normal. They're giving you two messages. They're telling you on one side, hey, this isn't really happening. It's not that bad. And then on the other side, they're saying, well, you got the money. You got the money, so it's to be expected. This is what they're doing. It's crazy. So, yeah. That's it. That's it, guys. I've said everything I can say. I'm all kind of tapped out today. Glenn Youngkin won't try to block local mask vaccine mandates like other Republican governors. So Glenn Youngkin, good thing he got in there, but there's room for improvement. I think that hopefully he learns and follows the footsteps of Ron DeSantis. He needs to be tougher on this entire lockdown mask mandate thing. That's pretty much it, you guys. I said everything I needed to say, and we're almost at an hour. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in today. I want to read a few chats, and then I'm gonna head on out. I'm sorry for dragging you through this Joy Reid and Hillary Clinton. I'm disgusted having to even talk about it. But we got to expose them. Got to expose these people. Anyway, MSNBC and Hillary fans are just sad, angry cat ladies and racist. And again, I want to remind people that no Black people are involved with the Kyle Rittenhouse case, trial, etc., etc. So there should be no reason why Black people can't go to work and can't function. Just don't have the mental capacity to deal with an outcome they don't like, especially when no Black people are even involved. That's not to say you can't be involved or can't be invested in it, but I mean, come on. Come on. So, yeah. Are the mods here communists too? What does that mean? I'm not really sure what that means. Keep in mind that the Dems put in a bill years ago that allowed the media to lie. Obama supported it. If you wonder why it's been really bad with all the lies for the past 6 years, that's why. That's true. Obama approved something as it relates to the use of propaganda in the media. This is stuff that this can be researched. I always tell people, don't take my word for it. Do your own research. I'm in New Jersey. Shelves are not well stocked and have not been since our state lockdown. Yeah, it's just gaslighting. It's complete gaslighting. If you can't give money, just share this stream. Please help spread the word. Yes, please do. I would appreciate that greatly. We will never get along with a people who thinks the complete opposite of common sense. It will never work. Red stays with red, blue kills each other with no jobs. It's kind of grim, but it's also, I guess, kind of true to a degree. I will say this. I think that people are awakening, but everyone's on their own timeline. Some of you were awake before I was. I've been awake before some people who are just waking up. Remember that walk away movement. That was real. People gave their testimonies as they started to realize what was happening and how they really can see it. A lot of people can really see it now. That Biden buyer's remorse is real. How do you get through to someone who is locked into TDS syndrome? I mean, they just have to see it for themselves. If all they can focus on is Trump, they're for one, they're watching nothing but mainstream media. But what is going to happen to wake them up is they're going to have to be directly impacted by the policies and politicians that they support. If they support defund the police and then all of a sudden crime goes up in their area and they have nobody to call when it's at their doorstep, that's what it's going to take. People have to be affected by it directly in order to truly see the error of their ways or to see how they've been deceived. Like those community activists in Minneapolis. I thought that was an important story because while people were like, they should know that BLM is not on their side. BLM supports Planned Parenthood. It's like, maybe they didn't know all that about BLM. There are good people who support BLM. They don't know about the origins of Black Lives Matter, the organization. They don't know about the George Soros ties. They don't know about the Act Blue, which basically just funnels all that money that they raise straight to politicians like Joe Biden. They don't know that, but they're figuring it out now. And you got to meet people where they are. How are you going to shame them for waking up? Just be happy that they did. Isn't it better that they wake up as opposed to not at all? Instead of saying, well, how did you not know it all along? So, I mean, isn't that the point, to try to wake people up? I just think it's not helpful to try to bash people for waking up later than you wanted them to. At least they are, and they're starting to speak out, which means they have the capacity to awaken more people. That's just my opinion. Thanks, Mike. You speak the truth. BLM is a communist organization. See, a lot of people don't know that. I know people that have BLM shirts and hats, and they're good people. They think Black Lives Matter. They support that, but they don't know about the organization. They've never visited the website. They never read the mission statement. They don't know that BLM, which they now removed it, of course, their goal was to disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure to promote Black queer liberation and all of these, woke agendas, these, I guess, just, I don't know, just promoting degeneracy, just putting Marxist degeneracy in blackface. That's what BLM is. And it's, I mean, if we're being honest, it's mostly white liberals that support BLM. I mean, you think about the parents of Michael Brown, of Tamir Rice, of Breonna Taylor. BLM fundraised off of all of their family members that died. The parents of Michael Brown's dad called out BLM. Plenty of these parents that were at the focal point of civil unrest and riots and high-profile cases of police brutality or shootings or whatever, they now see that BLM used them for their own gain. And they're like, where's the kickback? What are you doing to better the community? It's better that they see it now than not at all. That's all I can say. Remember when that BLM website took you straight to Joe Biden website? I wonder if that was a hack. I don't know. Whatever happened to that NFAC group? Not effing around crew? Is that what it was? I don't know, man, but it was embarrassing. One of the members, I think, they had some accidental discharges with their firearms. It was a mess. I don't know what happened to them. See these that black dude that was at the school board meeting with all that fire and, puffing his chest out. Why can't you take that same energy and go into the community and stop all these gang members from shooting and killing kids? Where's the energy for that? You never see it. You never see it. I'm not saying it's not happening, because there are community activists, especially in Minneapolis, where I can say that I've seen them out there trying to stop the gun violence, trying to protect the kids, trying to clean up the neighborhood. But for some of these people that are going after what they perceive is white supremacy, they know damn well that is not the biggest threat that they face. So it's like, take all that energy and go right to the hood and go and deal with that. And that reminds me of something that I wasn't really going to talk about it, but I'm going to do it really quick before I wrap up. So yesterday, there was a rapper by the name of Young Dolph that was gunned down in Memphis. And I know you're thinking, who's Young Dolph? I don't know rap. I don't listen to rap. Some people don't listen to it. That's fine. He was a high-profile rapper. I didn't even know who he was. I heard his name before, but I don't know his music. I'm not familiar. Anyway, he's from Memphis. He was gunned down, killed yesterday. And you see this as a pattern. These rappers, these entertainers, they get rich, they find some success, and then they continue to live the lifestyle, and they stay in the same areas that they were fortunate and blessed enough to have the means to leave. They still stay, and it ends up being their downfall. I mean, there was a rapper by the name of Nipsey Hussle who was shot and killed in his old neighborhood. That's happened to several different rappers. So anyway, Young Dolph, this rapper, Fox News was even reporting on it. So that's probably how some people at least have heard about it. Otherwise, if you live in Memphis, if you live in Tennessee, that was all on the news yesterday. They're probably still talking about it. He was gunned down in his own neighborhood. It's really sad. And there's something to be said about the lifestyle that people are living and the music that they make, the energy they put into the world, that ultimately destroys them. What you put out there ultimately comes back to you. And so I was curious yesterday and I went to his Twitter page, the rapper Young Dolph that was killed, and I was curious, what was he into? What was going on in his life? Was there any signs that he was in a like gang fight or some kind of conflict that could have led to his death? I didn't see anything, but the very first thing that popped out to me when I went to his Twitter page was the symbolism. The symbolism. Think about the Travis Scott concert from just a week or so ago. This constant Illuminati, Luciferian symbolism that a lot of these celebrities and entertainers and athletes are doing. I mean, I'm just saying there's got to be something there. Why do this? What is that? I'm just saying it. And it's his album, Paper Route, Illuminati. That was his last album, apparently. And now he's dead. See, people, all this does is feed the people who some people may call them conspiracy theorists or people that just draw these wild conclusions from things like this. But this doesn't help if you want people to stop talking about it. You got to stop with the symbolism. I mean, gosh, it's so obvious. I mean, you can just see it for what it is. So, I mean, it's sad. Rest in peace. I know he had 2 children, but he was clearly involved in something that was dark. He was struggling, having some internal battles, and it ultimately consumed him. So, anyways, you guys, that's enough for today. I really need to go and recharge my batteries. Like I said, this is hard to do. I feel like it's getting increasingly harder to do. Kind of like, not that what I do is anywhere near as important or impactful as like, paramedics or the coroner's office, people that actually have to have a strong stomach and whatever. This is hard. You can almost have to desensitize yourself to all of the news. I used to talk to my dad and I used to say, Dad, why do you watch the news every night? It's just negative and, depressing stories. And now this is what I do. I cover these stories. I try to find positive stories. I try to, shed some light on it or at least give my commentary. But it's hard. It's hard, especially now. I just want to get back to, like 2019. Can we just go back to 2019 as a starter? That's the last time I remember America thriving and winning. He was killed for giving back to his community. He was about to give away a truckload of free turkeys in his neighborhood. They cannot have a rapper be good role model for their community. I mean, if you listen to some of his music, I've only heard clips of some of his music. I don't think it was reflected in his music at all. That doesn't mean he was doing bad. I'm sure he was. A lot of these guys are actually giving back to their community. They are, building up infrastructure, buying businesses and opening up like football camps for the youth and trying to steer them on a different path. But then their music and some of the darker energy that they're participating in and putting out in the world comes back to haunt them. That's what I think this is. I think this is an example of that. It's just sad all around because, I mean, he has 2 kids. So anyway. How come you're not in Kenosha covering this with RSBN? I think it's just limited resources right now. Resources and, because there's not a lot going on. And also with the powder keg that is Kenosha, I got a family. I can't be out there right now. That's just kind of, it's probably a good thing that I'm not there right now. But that's the short answer. Did Joe Rogan pass away, Mike? What kind of question is that? No. Joe Rogan he's healthy as a horse. Last I checked, anyway. This country is never going back to normal, bro. Well, not with that attitude. I think we got to fight like it is going back to normal. Otherwise, what's the point? Not really much going on outside the court in Kenosha, so we still don't have a verdict. Why are they dragging this out? How hard is it to just render the right verdict? There's how much deliberation needs to go on. I mean, it is so cut and dry. It's so clear. He should have never been charged. Like I said, this is not the George Floyd, Derek Chauvin case where you could honestly see it going either way. They came to that conclusion quickly. I think it maybe took a day. This is weird. I'm very suspicious of why this is taking so long. Somebody said, oh, follow Mike's second channel. Yes, please. I forgot about that. Thank you, DM. Sub to my second channel. Please do. If anything happens to this one, that's where I'll be. In fact, I actually need to sacrifice the whatever ad revenue I get on this channel and build up that channel with enough views so that can be monetized as well. Anyways, I am wrapping up, guys. I appreciate everybody for tuning in today. I will most likely be back tomorrow. Fridays are typically busier for me, but I'll most likely be back tomorrow. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in today. Please, if you haven't already, give it a thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you don't miss a live stream. That's the only way you're going to know if I go live. And that's the only way to guarantee you don't miss a video is subscribe and hit the bell notification. All right. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. God bless you. I'll catch you in the next stream.